Welcome back to the Talking Hedge. I'm Josh Kincaid, and this is your Cannabis Business podcast. Today, we're going to talk about cannabis technology, whether it changes consumer behaviors, whether it adds to delivery, whether it's necessary or created equal. On the line with us is Dan Kimmis, our CBD correspondent with Good CBD Products.
I'm here, Chronic. I am not created equal, brother.
Definitely not. So the first article that we're going to dive into is from the LA Weekly, and they're saying that technology is slowly entering the cannabis retail space, and so tablets are changing the way consumers are buying. I mean, nothing's new about that, right? You go to McDonald's and they have a tablet, so it's nothing new. I've seen it, from inception. Really, I saw 5 years ago when people were using tablets to make decisions. There's a bar here locally in Burien, Washington, and there's a screen. I mean, you remember from Vast Digital Display when you had your TV, and that's your digital screen, and now they have tablets, and that's the menu. So this isn't anything new.
Well, again, if you're in Cali and you're doing cannabis right now it's new. So it feels like, whoa, this is new. Technology's coming to the cannabis market. Yeah, I mean, first, I think everybody knows we're old. You're old, Conic. You are really old now. And we've been doing tech for 5+ years in the cannabis space. So technology slowly coming to the cannabis space. No, the cannabis space slowly made its way to California. Now it's there. And the LA Weekly crew, which I know that crew, by the way. And again, I mean, it makes sense, right? You go into a dispensary, you see a tablet, you go write an article. Hey, Washington had tablets in weed stores 4 years ago. So there.
Yeah, no doubt. And so if there was software that it would implement Leafly, let's say you wanted a particular strain. And so if the store used software that pulled in Leafly's description of certain strains coupled with their inventory control and then had some list of questions, like a Facebook quiz or whatever, and then it's like, here's your strain, that would be interesting. I don't know how accurate, but it would be interesting. This isn't accurate at all. Basically, they're just saying, oh, yeah, we have Wi-Fi now. That's great.
Technology slowly making its way to the cannabis industry.
There are some interesting technologies out there, though. So top tender is a good thing to have behind the scenes, not necessarily impacting customer decisions, but at least it's giving the bud tenders some technology in order to make some recommendations. That's fairly new, not the idea. But Top Tender is, and it's a good site, good software. I've met the individual. He's got some good development, and so there are some things that are kind of coming across that will impact customer buying decisions, but it's definitely not just a tablet.
I'm going to stop you right now because here's the thing. The tendency to say, well, new cannabis business technology. Right. Cannabis is just a business. So anything that somebody's like, oh, this is new technology for this market, it better be for consumption or something like that. Because again, all these tricks in business have been tried other places. And in fact, migrating them over here is part of the thing. I get my back up on stuff like this because I spend all my time running around looking for the hidden gems. And the naivety of, hey, there's a new point of purchase system, or, woo, look, credit cards. You can take credit cards now. I mean, again, go be in the industry for a little bit.
Right. So Square is taking a lot of CBD and cannabis business right now.
Shopify just dropped a whole CBD portal.
Right.
But those aren't new technologies. Those are technologies that have been around that have decided to play in cannabis now. That's very different than being a new cannabis technology.
Mm-hmm. So here's another article about how cannabis software does not, one size doesn't fit all. So this is from the StanfordAdvocate.com, talking about the rise in cannabis tools and what it means for retailers looking to grow their business. So the article goes on to say, quote, as the legalization movement continues, cannabis dispensaries have become more and more likely than any other mainstream retail operation, such as a shoe or clothing store, and consumers can expect a superior and tailored experience and the highest quality products for the best prices. So there's one big difference between the two. Unlike retail stores, cannabis shops must be in compliance and report to state tracking and trace systems. So in order to deliver on that experience while maintaining high levels of competence and compliance, a dispensary owner must hire top talent, implement sound processes and plans carefully in order to optimize and streamline business operations for continued growth. Ultimately, you need to have some kind of software in order to keep you in compliance. That's a fact, and it's not all going to be one size fits all. Of course, it's going to be what makes sense for your business.
Well, process and procedure, a tool, some kind of tool, right, that helps you keep ordered and organized. But again, when you consider how rosy an article like that makes everything sound, we were partially involved in this thing in Cali where we're out measuring, essentially checking in on compliance. Well, the audit of the compliance side of Cali failed. They failed dramatically. They're not ready. There's too much real estate and too many. So, be in compliance, right? If you ever even see your compliance officer, right? And if they have the time of day, and again, the disconnect between an article like that and the ground validates our very deal.
Mm-hmm. No doubt. And there's Canadian companies that have gone to Sacramento and California, state capital, to push their products. I was just up at the International Cannabis Business Conference, the ICBC in Vancouver, BC, and ran across a compliance software platform that would automatically send it to your phone, point of sale, cash register, whatever. And that was nice because then people can focus on their day-to-day activities without having to worry about being out of compliance. So I'm still kind of waiting for that automatic, if there is such a thing as automated compliance, I'm kind of waiting for that to hit your phone, and notify you, just like a recall, right? I mean, I think compliance should be as simple as a normal standard product recall, but it's not, unfortunately.
It's really not. And it's also, again, I always come back to, right, but not only do you need the tool, but you need the discipline, right, to rigidly adopt the tool, use the tool. And one of the things that's amazing about this industry that we've seen numerous times is somebody adopts, air quote, the tool, and then 6 months later, the tool's gone. And now you got to go adopt a different tool. And now you're teaching your team a different way. And then for whatever reason, that one doesn't work. Again, it's not meant to be just a naysayer. It's just to point out that, cannabis, the thing that makes cannabis different than other businesses is only that it's harder. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing, right? It's like, okay, why is it harder? Because of the chaos, the rule changes. It's a new market. People are figuring it out. Come back in 10 years. Mm-hmm. In 10 years, all this stuff will be sussed. And the opportunity will be gone, right? And that's where, again, it's like, I get it, right? That chaos. Chaos equals opportunity. I understand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right about that. And it's interesting too, because there is no single solution software, right? We can see that. I like Clover. I don't know if you've seen Clover as a POS system, but there's a lot of reports. There's a lot of information you can get. It's really interesting. And so when you're looking at customizing and scaling and continuing with product innovation, you need something like that can kick you back some reports that's informative. And there's really nothing like that in cannabis. So, we're trying to look at Salesforce or other solutions that are already available, and we can't even use that. And so it's kind of like you said yesterday, a step forward, maybe 2 or 3 back.
Well, the complexity again of you want to pick the tool that's wholly integrated. If whoever it is, can roll up enough shops, the next thing you know, there's a standard. The problem is, again, it's a complex market. All these different jurisdictions have different rules. So making a tool that has to be 100% right, your tracking software can't be 99% right. It's got to be 100% right. And again, deals with all of these different nuanced rule sets and the fact that these rules change and the fact that, again, it is an emergent market. It's too early for the tool to be developed. And at the same time, they need the tool.
So before we move on to the next set of technology with delivery from Snoop Dogg's company Eaze, this article closes out by saying at the end of the day, it all comes down to one thing, the customer experience. So the future of cannabis legalization and medicinal use is bright, and as technology leaders in innovation, it's our responsibility to provide the best technological solution to solve modern challenges that benefit the greater good. And so maybe that's just providing something that's relevant. And right now, e-commerce, delivery, all of that stuff is definitely needed and wanted. And so there's a former Eaze CEO that launched a new e-commerce technology for cannabis. And so they're saying that infrastructure in the cannabis industry has failed to keep up with the rising demand. I would agree with that. And so California is just kind of working on its way for a business cannabis e-commerce platform to come in and provide a obvious solution. We have so many delivery systems. Why not deliver cannabis?
Yeah, my favorite customer experience so far has been going to Ike's and buying weed. Okay. And I consistently have a good experience there. And when I look at tablets, when I look at apps, when I look at the idea of a driver guy coming by and handing off my baggie, all of that stuff, so far, I haven't had the promise, the reality hasn't met the promise of what's been, thought up and done. And this is where, again, cannabis business isn't special. It's just business, and just do it right.
Mm-hmm. So this article says that as the legal cannabis market struggles with unprecedented distribution methods, this dynamic distribution provides legal brands and distributions a stable turnkey solution that's a smarter and less expensive path for getting products to stores and shelves. And yet most states do not allow delivery, including California, where this is based out of. And so since its launch, this company is following a $5 million funding round and managing to close deals with more than 80% of the licensed retailers in California, hosting over 65 brands on the platform already. And so they're opening up to multiple distributors, creating a new California statewide distribution network, which also requires a license. I think there's only 12 permanent distribution licenses in California. The rest of them have an expiration date. Most people don't even know that. And so it's going to be very difficult for people to get in, not very cheap, obviously. And so to close this out, the article says, quote, end-to-end distribution is a major challenge for brands across California, and they hope to solve this distribution conundrum by offering a predictable and scalable technology for all brands to efficiently, reliably deliver products throughout the entire state. Pretty straightforward, and yet not easy.
Oh, the provisional license, right? That's one thing to talk about, but just the nature of California and distribution. Again, this is the thing we keep running across in the field, is that one of the most complex aspects of this whole deal is somebody over there's got the product, somebody here sells it, and right over there's a customer. Mm-hmm. And just making sure that what should be so straightforward, right? Just is, and it isn't. And it's, again, I like to look at the future. How long until I can order my weed on Amazon? I mean, is that a never? I don't think it's a never. And if it's not a never, when is it? And then between now and then, if you're smart, if you're a cool distribution company, right, you lose money and you go tilt the windmill and you get it all built. Because one of these days, it's going to turn around where, Amazon can deliver weed. And whoever's built is probably just going to get eaten, right? And so go get built, suffer the consequences, suffer the, geez, we can't do it over here and we weren't able to do it over there, but here we could, right? And get it built and get it modeled, because again, I mean, how hard is it to look at the future and go, well, yeah, one of these days Amazon's going to, and when they do, what's going to happen? They're going to buy the first in-place entity they can find. Oh, okay, go be those guys.
Right. Yeah, just a matter of time, right? Starbucks might have all of the cannabis cafes. We'll see. We're going to talk about some cannabis cafes later on this week. Tomorrow, we're going to jump into some blockchain and how they've tried to help the cannabis industry with some automating of general ledgers and accounting, as well as federal cannabis banking kind of hits a snag in the House, and how multi-state cannabis and hemp operators can stand to potentially benefit from this new federal banking law. So stay with us tomorrow. With that, we're going to roll this one up. I'm Josh Kincaid. This is the Talking Hedge. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, or don't. And I'm out.